Hello and welcome to Dingoes Ate My Podcast. I'm Paul.
I'm Dave.
And this week we are discussing the episode Life of the Party. This episode originally aired October 29th, 2003, attracting approximately 4.72 million viewers. Alrighty, so why don't we start off with the number one film at the box office this week, Dave?
Been a little bit, and I can't remember exactly what came from last week.
So last week was the remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
With that.
Now,
I don't know if it would have the strength to kind of stay for an additional week, but there's nothing else that immediately comes to mind that would have overtopped it.
well, Dave, I have to say that something did top it. With $48.1 million at the box office in its opening weekend. It's Scary Movie 3.
On the one hand, I'm not surprised, but I'm kind of wondering if this is the antithesis of the comedy horror genre, or if it was starting to do the downfall of the horror movie genre.
No, Scary Movie was the parody ones. That's made by those dumbasses who made all those terrible... they did like... what are the other crappy movies they made?
A whole bunch, quite honestly.
Yeah, they made like Epic Movie and like... all those like crappy ones that nobody likes.
Yeah, well, they don't exactly like, but can tolerate it enough so that because of its particular genre of what it is. It's not supposed to be good. It's supposed to be the stupid kind of good that you can somewhat enjoy when you're stoned or drunk off your ass.
See, hard disagree because I didn't enjoy these movies while I was under the influence of certain things.
Then you most likely needed to have more of them things. Like the people within this episode. But we'll get to that.
Yes. Number one song in America this week, Dave.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was still from last week with the star power it had behind it. Though it'd be interesting if it got topped.
No, it is still Baby Boy by Beyonce featuring Sean Paul. And finally, we move into video games. And Jesus, this is a friggin' week here. Okay. October 29th. So the day this episode aired was, let's just say the gaming industry changed. Because a little game was released on Windows called Call of Duty.
Oh yeah, this thing happened.
Yeah, this little thing that would go on to be, I think, the biggest gaming franchise of all time.
Yeah, it kind of had phases. This was like the start of it, and then some things happened, and then the really big thing happened.
I feel
now
like
it's just kind of a thing.
Yeah, I feel like it didn't get big until like Modern Warfare.
Yeah, that was the other thing.
Also on the same day, if you weren't feeling Call of Duty and you had either PC, GameCube, PS2, Xbox, or a Game Boy Advance, you could pick up a little game called SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom.
Yes, because it is the funds.
Have you played it?
A little bit of it, yes. It has been quite some time.
I played a little bit of the remake.
Yes, the rehydrated version.
Yeah, which I thought was fine.
Indeed, though they did not remember to do the one specific thing. It was so sad. It just had one job.
The only thing I thought was, I'm like, this game was probably really good in 2003, but does it not hold up in 2020 or whenever that was?
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to move along to October 31st for a little Halloween treat. If you had an Xbox, you could go pick up a little game called Grand Theft Auto 3.
I'm not sure if you could count that as a Halloween treat, but I'm pretty sure any good thing would be counted as a treat in any sort of respect.
That's definitely a Halloween treat. Although it did come to Xbox like 2 years after PlayStation 2.
Eh.
But it was still a good game. Anyway, Moving on to November 3rd, you had your treat. Now you have to have your little trick. Because if you had an Xbox on November 3rd, you could go pick up a game called Drake of the 99 Dragons.
Oh no.
Are you
Like
familiar?
I I only know it by name, but there's just one little thing in my head that popped up as like, oh no, it's this game. Suppress the memory. Suppress the memory.
Yeah, I've never played this, but apparently it's notoriously terrible. But never fear, Nintendo was here for you on November 3rd. If you had a Game Boy Advance, you could pick up a little game called Fire Emblem The Blazing Blade. Also, in America, it was just called Fire Emblem.
Ah, yes, with that one. With the multitude of characters that are very popular and the very yes, yes.
Yes, I think this was the first Fire Emblem game to come to North America, wasn't it?
It was. The very first characters, though, were from the Smash Brothers game.
Yes, yeah, because that had come out previously. But yeah, you played Fire Emblem, didn't you?
Indeed, it wasn't until the GameCube that I really got my first experience of it, but I've dabbled with most of the newer games and a couple of the older ones. Surprisingly, not this one, though.
Okay, I played this one, but I don't think I've played any of the others.
Hmm.
Yeah, I thought it was, it was fine. I mean,
Fine for its tactical style of gameplay.
yeah, like it's a fun strategy game, but it's also very frustrating.
You know, because of the fact that you need to be careful with all of your units, because if you make one wrong move, the computer will most likely demolish every single one of your characters and you can't get them back.
No, the game does have permadeath, which is, ooh. Anyway, also on November 3rd, if you were a PC gamer, you could pick up a little game called The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King.
Yes, because that was also a thing.
Yes. Also on November 3rd, if you had a PS2, Xbox, or a GameCube, you could pick up a little game called True Crime: Streets of LA.
Yes.
Do you remember the True Crime games? I think there was only two of them that came out around this time.
Like vaguely. I think it's a case that I played them, but it wasn't anything that really stuck.
Okay. Yeah, they were totally not trying to ride Grand Theft Auto's success.
No, no, of course not. What would give you that idea?
Um, but I mean, okay. So here's the thing. I always thought that the idea for the true crime games was interesting, like playing as like a potentially corrupt cop. I thought like that's kind of interesting, but from memory, the
Yeah.
games were never very good.
Yeah, since it kind of took. I'm not sure if it would be exactly the same system, but the Fable type of good and bad system,
Yeah.
such as making sure that a puppy has food is a good thing, while accidentally kicking it is a terrible thing, and you're a terrible person, and you have devil horns now.
Although I will say that the third game did end up becoming Sleeping Dogs, and Sleeping Dogs is really good. And if you haven't played Sleeping Dogs, go play Sleeping Dogs.
Animal. Also a case that I have not done so.
Oh, okay. Sleeping Dogs is very good and a ton of fun. Continue on to November 4th, where if you're a PC gamer, and I hope you picked this up because, you could pick up a little thing called Civilization 3 Conquests, which was the second expansion pack for Civilization 3.
It is the neats.
Yes. The expansion pack that allowed you to become a fascist in Civilization 3.
Because it's a thing, despite the fact that possibly a decent amount of people possibly don't want you to do the thing, but yeah, it's a thing.
No, but didn't you know, Dave, fascism is okay again?
Well, supposedly they change it so quick nowadays.
Anyway, November 4th, if you had a PS2, you could pick up a little game called The Lord of the Rings: Return of the King.
Yes, because that was indeed a thing.
I don't know why this game has such a staggered release, because it's going to come up again.
Nah, somewhat understandable, because most likely the licensing and getting all the particular things together with all the proper P's and Q's and dotting them proper I's always takes a while.
No, but it's like, so PC gets it on the 3rd, PS2 gets it on the 4th, and then, spoiler alert for next week, GameCube and Xbox get it on the 5th. So I don't know why it didn't all just come out for like all platforms on the same day. That's just weird.
Most likely there was some particular guy in the office that just wanted to be one hell of a jerk to all the companies.
Apparently. November 4th, if you had a PS2, you could pick up a little game called SOCOM 2 U.S. Navy SEALs.
Yes, the name rings a bell, but no images there.
Yeah, I feel like the SOCOM games were really popular for like a hot minute. And then, like, because I don't remember 3 or 4, but apparently those exist.
Yeah, most likely.
But I would be down for like a new SOCOM game. I think it's a fun idea, like that kind of like squad-based shooter. I like those.
Yeah, true.
Also on November 4th, if you had a Game Boy Advance, you could pick up Tiger Woods PGA Tour 2004.
Because it's a golfing game on a portable system.
Which, I mean, in all fairness, there have been probably good ones, maybe. I don't know. I don't think I've ever...
Maybe like 1 or 2 of the Mario Golfs that ended up on the GBA.
That's a good call. Yeah. Nope. Yeah, that was... I think there... Yeah, there was one on the GBA. And finally, if you had a GameCube on November 4th, you could pick up a game that I will know nothing about called Yu-Gi-Oh! The False-Bound Kingdom.
Yes, because that was also a thing.
I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh! Wasn't a thing by 2003, but I must be wrong.
Well, it was a thing. It stuck around. It mostly kind of depended on if you were within the crowd or not.
Yeah, okay, I never was a Yu-Gi-Oh! Kid. Like, I was barely a Pokemon kid, so...
Yeah. Though surprisingly enough, you managed into Magic in at least a case or 2, if I recall.
I did play a little bit of Magic, yes. Off and on for a few years. But yeah, I did play that. But yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Never got me. Pokemon never really got me. Magic did for about, like... In total, between all the times I've played it, maybe 2 years. But a lot of those I just... For whatever reason, they just didn't jive with me.
It's likely because your parents were like, yeah, we don't want to buy you the 372 separate things to actually play the particular stuff of things.
Yeah, that's probably not far off. Okay, so we move on to the episode. Here we go. As Halloween approaches, Lauren will throw a Halloween party for all the firm's clients and employees, and even got a reluctant Angel to invite to the party a powerful demon lord, Archduke Sabasis. Other guests will include the Fell Brethren, the Dritze, Devlin, and a Thraxus demon. Although, maybe not the Thraxus demon. During the gathering, Lauren's timely advice to his friends starts happening literally. Fred and Wesley get drunk after Lauren tells them that their problem is that they are sober and they should be 3 sheets to the wind already. Gunn begins relieving himself around the office after Lauren tells him to mark his territory. Angel and Eve have sex after Lauren tells them to get a room due to the sexual tension he could sense. Finally, Spike begins enjoying himself dancing, listening to the music, and becoming overly happy and agreeable once Lauren tells him to be a little more positive. There is more trouble when Lauren's sleep deprivation causes his empathetic subconscious to manifest itself as a hulking demon. The deprivation itself is the result of Lauren having Wolfram Hart remove his ability to sleep entirely. Just like Madeline Chu in accounting. Lauren's subconscious causes much violence before the gang restores Lauren's sleep, which neutralizes the manifestation. The chaos and destruction have a positive side, since most of Wolfram and Hart's employees felt that the carnage made the party much better. So, what do you think of this episode, Dave?
It was very much fun, within the fun party time sort of sense, as well as the Schadenfreude sort of sense of a multitude of people suffering terribly.
Yeah, it's kind of just like a standalone episode. It's not like really, it's not really connected to the overall arc of the season.
Yeah, no. It's interesting though that we kind of learn a little bit more about Lauren's abilities and the fact that if he doesn't get a specific sort of thing, stuff kind of goes haywire in quite the literal sense.
Yeah, it's also, I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember the episode of Buffy called Something Blue?
Possibly, but it's not ringing a bell off the title.
Okay, Something Blue was a season 4 episode, which is where Willow casts a spell and it goes awry, and Buffy ends up falling in love with Spike, and Giles goes blind, and Xander becomes a demon magnet. This is like after Oz leaves. I don't know if you remember, but they're kind of similar in like, kind of like the way into the episode, like with this magic going wrong kind of thing.
Yes, yes.
So, did you have anything else about this episode?
No, as it is, thankfully, the party was somewhat of a success. No tremendously bad things kind of happened. And yeah, as long as it was a decent party and nobody's going to add them onto the hit list, then it should be good.
So let us move on to some international titles for this. So in Czech, it translates as Strength of Subconscious, which, not great grammar there, but fair enough. In Finnish, it translates as Party Focus. In French, A Smashing Party. In Hungarian, Sleep Deprivation.
Oh, there you go.
In Italian, The Spirit of the Party. In Brazilian Portuguese, The Essence of the Party. In Russian, Soul of the Company. Excuse me.
Yeah, I suppose. It only does like one little touch on from the end of the episode, but still.
In Latin American Spanish, it translates as The Soul of the Party. In Spain Spanish, it translates as The Soul of the Parties. And my favorite one, okay, the best one I think is German, where it translates as The Lorne Effect.
Oh, it pretty much dots it right on the dot. Just perfect.
It's so good. Germany never changed. Alrighty, so next week, I'm looking forward to talking about this one, Dave.
Oh, yes?
Yes. Okay, it is an episode entitled The Cautionary Tale of Numero Cinco.
Okay.
Let me pitch this episode to you quickly. Okay. So, you might have noticed in the background of a few episodes now, we've seen this guy wearing a luchador mask.
I think vaguely. Wasn't he pushing, like, little cart?
Yes, a mail cart. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, he's gonna become more important in this episode.
Huh.
So, Angel learns that he must track down a retired Mexican wrestler to help him defeat Quetzalcoatl, an ancient Aztec warrior who emerges every 50 years to take the heart of a hero to sustain his own existence. Angel is surprised to find the wrestler is employed at his company, Wolfram and Hart, and that he has a personal score to settle with Quetzalcoatl. There's going to be lucha-bolics.
Interesting.
Lucha.
Yes, you have your fun with your Mexican wrestling and the things of the stuff of life.
Oh, it's gonna be so much fun. Anyway, until next week, I'm Paul.
And I'm Dave.